What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you another profile update thanks to Blazing Dominion. Today is the turn of Pure Rockets. Now you can play different versions of this deck, you can lean it more to be considered as what is Dragon Link, but I've tried to keep it as pure as you possibly can be to keep it Rocket themed and utilising the brand new card Breach Borrow, which is just absolutely insane for the deck as well, and something that was really missing post the previous set as well of Burst Protocol. So what I'm going to do to show you exactly what this deck can now do with one card, I'll show you a combat at the end of the video on top of it. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving head first into the profile, we are going to be starting off with 3 Rocket Tracers. So for those of you unfamiliar with how rockets work, they kind of like to target and destroy their own stuff to get maximum effects. And cards like Tracer is probably like the best one for the entire deck, because it has a quick effect to target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon any rocket monster from the deck except itself. But you can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dark monsters, which is pretty much what you're going to be doing anyway. And then the more recent card we got, which is, I would probably say, the 1-card combo, so it's probably a little bit better than Tracer, but Tracer, when you have that card to destroy, is pretty insane, is 3 Rocket Loader. So if this card is normal or special, you add a level 7 Dark Dragon from the deck to the hand. You can't special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dark monsters, which again is absolutely fine. You can banish it from the grave to target a face-up monster on the field, and it becomes dark until the end of this turn. So sometimes that can be quite useful, but more times not as well. You're just targeting your own rockets, and then they can trigger their effects. Now, why is this one so important? Well, it lets you add directly your Abza Router Dragon. So if you control a rocket monster, you get to special summon this card from the hand. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. And if it's sent to grade, you get to add a rocket monster from the deck to the hand. So just swings and roundabouts of everything, because even Tracer leads you into Loader, and then you build on from there. Then we've got a lot of one-of for the rocket monsters. We've got the 1 Caliber. So you get to special summon this card from the hand to your zone a Dark Link monster points to. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. You can tribute this card to then special summon a Dark Dragon or Machine monster from the hand except itself. We've then got the 1 Magna Rocket. So when a Link monster's effect is activated that targets this face-up card on the field, you get a quick effect to destroy this card and then send 1 monster on the field to the graveyard. During the end phase, if this card was in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field by battle or card effect and sent to this turn, you get to special summon a rocket monster from the deck except itself. We've then got a Silver Rocket Dragon. So when a Link monster's effect is activated that targets this face-up card on the field, quick effect, you get to destroy this card, then look at your opponent's extra deck and banish 1 card from it. I'm not the biggest fan of the type of format we're going into, because Cool Tunes are going to be looking at people's extra decks. There's a Link 4 Topologic card that lets you look at your opponent's extra deck, and then cards like this, but you know, if you have to deal with them, you might as well join them. And then during the end phase, if this card's in the grave because it was destroyed on the field by battle or card effect and sent in this turn, special on a rocket monster from the deck. So usually your Silver Rocket will lead you to your Magna Rocket, and you target this during your opponent's turn, and then you've got that disruption to send, which is quite nice. Then got the 1 Rocket Recharger. So if a dark monster or monsters you control that was specialed from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to send this card from the hand or field to the grave to then target up 1 of those destroyed monsters and special summon a dark monster from the grave with a different original name from that targeted monster. You can only use this effect once per turn, and then while you control a dark monster special from the extra deck, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. Now this is actually quite nice. I still like the idea of Skylight Red Dragon Archfiend, but you honestly don't need to play it. The Dark Dragons that we end up going for will be pretty much your borrow load monsters. Then we've got 1 Rocket Detonator. So you control a Dark Dragon Link monster, you get to special summon this card from the hand. You can only special summon it once per turn this way. You get to target a Dark Dragon monster in your spell and trap zone, special summon it, but it cannot attack and its effects are negated. But you can't special summon the extra deck for the rest of the turn except dark monsters, but again, it's just a free extender you get to summon down from your hand. And then the final like Dragon-esque monster is the Noctivision Dragon. So when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a face-down card or card you control, quick effect, banish this card from the grave, negate the effect. Also, your opponent cannot target face-down cards you control with card effects for the rest of this turn. But more times than not, is if a Dark Dragon monster is special summoned to your field, except during damage step, you get to special summon this card from the hand. And if it's sent to the grave as Link material, draw 1 card. Quite nice. And then the classic quick launch, just special summon a rocket monster from the deck. It can't attack, destroy it during the end phase, but you get 3 of this, and it's not hard once per turn, so you just keep summoning rocket monsters as and when you wish, really. Then we've got the 1 Boot Sector launch. So apart from just being a field spell, you search in some other decks that used it as an engine, this card actually has so much more utility for rockets. So all rocket monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense, and then you get to activate 1 of the following effects. Special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from the hand in defense vision. Or if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon Rokket monsters with a different name from the graveyard in defense edition up to difference. So has a go first, go second appliance. We've then got the one double interlocked. So activate one of these effects, you can only use each effect once per turn. Fusion summon a fusion monster from the extra deck by banishing its materials from the grave, including a Rokket monster. So that's how you're going to be able to get yourself into, very easily, very quickly, a Borreload Furious Dragon or a Borreload Fatal Flare Dragon. So they're your ideal targets, or your only targets. You can also ritual summon a ritual monster, because Rockets do have a ritual monster, which is kind of crazy, but we don't play that. Then the one Dragon's Ravine that you can search off the back of your Romulus. And then we've got two Borrel Reboot. I don't mind the idea of playing this at 3. It is slightly tempting. Some builds will play at 1 because the Borrel Dragon, the new one that we got, can search it out. So your Breach Borrel Dragon can just search it out, which is fine. But I like how this card works. So it's a counter track card that when your opponent activates a spell or track card while you control a Rokket or a Borrel monster, negate the activation. If you do, set that card face down on your opponent's field, but it cannot be activated this turn. You can activate this card from the hand by paying half your life points. Now, it's a bit of pros and cons, and what I mean by that is you pay half your life points, but the fact that it can just be activated from the hand and it's a counter track card means that if your opponent was to use, for example, a Cool Tune Synchro or a Forbidden Droplet and they didn't send a track card, you go, cool, play Borrel Reboot. And it's kind of one of the ones that, yes, they get the Forbidden Droplet for the next turn, but there's no guarantee they survive that turn or you even leave it on that field for that turn. So playing 3, I don't mind, because it gives you more ways of getting these track cards to the graveyard. It's a counter track card that you can set. Like if you're going first, you're ideally going to set it, because there's very few spells that can be activated, and spells and traps that can be activated from your opponent's hand. But remember, there's Dominus Impulse running around, Dominus Spark, and Dominus Purge. Spark and Impulse are probably going to be the more annoying ones to deal with, and your Borrel Reboot will give you a turn 0 response to those cards. As a note, I don't own Sparks right now. I will be looking to pick them up, and if you did, you would put this in the deck, because Sparks being able to be used in the deck is still going to be quite useful for you. One Foolish Burial, one Call by the Grave, and then the cards that your Call by the Grave are going to want to deal with is Ash Blossoms. You've got Droll Lockbirds, you've got Fuilosses, you've got Perulias, you name it. Speaking of, 3 Fuias? Fuilosses. And then 2 Ghost Bells and Haunted Mansions. Again, this is another card that I think is going to be quite prevalent in the upcoming format, just because it does really well against Cool Tunes. It's already putting a lot of work against quite a lot of the main decks right now. Branded has already won 2 Nationals back-to-back, so they're going to still be quite a big threat as well. And there's the potential of a Forbidden Limited list that could come around. Then we've got 2 Infinite Impermanences, 3 Dominus Impulses, and then 2 Forbidden Droplet. I'm not sure what I would take out to put the Sparks in. Maybe I would take out 2 Infinite Impermanences and then take out the 3rd Rokket Reboot. But I still quite like, sorry, I say Rokket Reboot, Borrel Reboot. But I quite like the idea of the Borrel Reboot. So, I don't know, it's like a Borrel's own in-archetypal Dominus card, which I think is really cool. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to take you through the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we'll work our way up. So the only 2 cards are not Rokket monsters in the deck will be your Draco Berserker of the Tenyi and SP Little Knight. These are just generic options for you. You will end on the Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, but in an ideal world, Borreload Savage Dragon comes back and Borreload Savage Dragon has a errata that says it can only use a Rokket monster, would be glorious. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Then we've got the 1 Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Your 2 fusion monsters being your Borreload Furious Dragon and your Borreload Fatal Flare. So your Furious Dragon, it's a quick effect to target a monster you control and a card your opponent controls, you destroy them. Banish it from the graveyard to target a Dark Link monster in your grave and special summon it. It can't activate its effects this turn, only use each effect once per turn. And the Fatal Flare is if this card is fusion summoned, you get to add a Rokket monster from the deck to the hand. You can target a Dark monster you control equipped with a Dark Link monster from your graveyard or banishment as an equipped spell that gives it plus 500 attack. And if it's sent to the graveyard as link material, target a card on the field and destroy it. The idea is that this is the card you're going to put in your spell and trap zone for, as we do a little bit of a quick rewind, your detonator as well. So, told you, swings and roundabouts. That's kind of how Dragon Link works, or Borreloads work. Then for the Link ones, we've got the 1 Striker Dragon, search out your boot sector. And a lot of people also, if you play Rockets, you'll know, but this also has a secondary effect that lets you target face-on monster you control and a Rokket monster in your grave, destroy that monster on the field, and if you do, add the other monster from the grave back to the hand. So, trigger off some of your Rokket monster effects. 1 Pitsy, and then we've got the 1 Hieratic Seals, and the 1 Romulus, backed up by a Dilindris Dragon, which you'll see the utility of that during the combo. then got the Quad Boral, and then the more recent Breach Boral Dragon. This card is crazy good for the deck. So if it's link zoned, you get to add a Boral spell or trap from the deck to the hand. You get a quick effect to target a dark monster you control, it gains 500 attack, or if it's no longer on the field, special summon a Rokket monster from the deck in defense position instead. So really, really nice, that one. And then for our stronger Boral monsters, we've got the Triss Boral Dragon, which is our link 3. For our link 4, we've got the Boral Sword Dragon. I still like the idea of playing Boral Dragon. It just feels kind of nostalgic, but, you know, Sword is the better option. And then for our link 5s, we've got the classic Boral End, and then we've got the more recent Boral Shroud Dragon. So you should be able to end your field on a Boral End and a Boral Shroud, and you'll see that in the combo, just how powerful it is when you're ending with these link monsters. Because not only do they have their own effects, they're quite big boss monsters at 3,500 apiece, plus they all have effects where they can't disrupt a card effect or additional disruptions that can make it very, very awkward for your opponent to try and deal with. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck. For side decks with this deck like this, you're kind of going to be looking at whatever your environment is looking like. So if you're fearing stuff that runs into Nibiru, and I feel that if High Wave King Caesar does get hit on a Forbidden Limited list, Nibiru will become a lot more prevalent than it already is. You can consider stuff like Ghost Ogres. You can consider stuff like Harpy's Feather Dusters, Triple Tactics Thrust, Talents, and all of that. Or you can consider stuff like Evening Matches could be quite useful, breaking fields, especially if any across are running around at your environment, or even Clown Crew can also be something you need to be aware of, because you need to be able to kind of deal with vanity cards sometimes, and you also need to be able to get a balance to break fields, but that's really going to come down to the environment and everything else in between. So, for the combo, it's going to be very, very simple. I'm just going to fill the hand with random bricks right now. And the one combo you're going to need is going to be your Rokket Loader Dragon. So I'm going to reset the field state, zoom out, give you everything you need to, and show you how this one particular card is going to get you as many disruptions as you could possibly imagine that it's going to be quite useful for you in Rockets. So I'm going to be back in a second. So the 1-card combo, or technically 1.5, is all off the back of the Rokket Loader. It can also be done with Tracer Dragon, and you'll be able to see 3 very useful combos from El Exordio. I'll put the link in the description down below. This is where I saw this combo, and I thought it'd be good to kind of add it to this profile as well as giving them a massive shout out, because it's kind of how it all comes together. So you're going to put these 4 cards to one side for now. They'll just be discard fodder later on, but only one of them. You're going to start off by normal summoning down the Loader. The Loader will then allow you to grab your Abzorauda. You then get to special summon down the Abzorauda because you control a Rokket, and then link summon your Rokket Loader into a Striker Dragon. In doing so, you can trigger Striker Dragon's effect to grab you your Boot Sector Launch, and then activate your Boot Sector Launch, or hold on to it, either or, doesn't make much of a difference. We're then going to link together our Abzorauda and our Striker Dragon, and go into our Dillingus. In doing so, you'll be able to trigger the Abzorauda's effect to grab you your Rokket Tracer. Now what you can do is use Boot Sector Launch to special summon down the Rokket Tracer, and in doing so, this will then allow you to utilize your quick effect of your Rokket Tracer, destroying your own boot sector, to grab you access to the Silver Rokket Dragon. In doing so, the next move would be to use your Dillingus plus using your Rokket Tracer and go into the Triss Boral Dragon. Your Triss Boral Dragon will trigger to grab you your double interlock, and then you can activate the double interlock, banishing 2 from the graveyard. One of them needs to be a link monster, which can be your Striker Dragon, and the other one can be the Abzorauda. And this will then allow you to special summon out your Borreload Fatal Flare Dragon. In doing so, your Fatal Flare Dragon's effect will trigger to allow you to grab your Rokket Detonator, which is really nice, because now what you can do is special summon down your Rokket Detonator, in doing so triggering the Dillingus in the graveyard to summon it back as well. So you're just basically fueling up some links positions. Leave this zone completely free, and the reason you need to leave this zone completely free is that this is where Pitsy is going to go and enter the field. So you're going to use your Silver Rokket Dragon, you're going to go into the Pitsy. Pitsy's a threat because of Triss Boral and Pitsy point to the same zone. We'll bring back the Silver Rokket. And the reason you do this is you're going to get access to your opponent's extra deck very, very shortly. Then you're going to use your Triss Boral, your Pitsy, and your Dillingus, using your Dillingus as the link 1 to work your way into your Boral End Dragon. So this is going to be your Mac Daddy boss monster. We can now use the Fatal Flare effect, now that we've got the link 3 in the graveyard that we want, to equip the Triss Boral Dragon to your Silver Rokket Dragon, and then you can use your Rokket Detonator to summon said Triss Boral Dragon, and now what you're doing is basically just gaining back more link markers so you can get to utilize them in a second. Now that we've used Detonator's effect, we can use Boral End Dragon's effect to negate it, and in doing so, revive one from the graveyard, and that one's going to be our Tracer Dragon. We're then going to be able to link these both together and go into the brand new Breach Borrel Dragon. In doing so, you're going to grab yourself your Borrel Reboot. So now what you're going to do is use Breach Borrel's effect to target the Silver Rokket Dragon effect to give it 500, but you're going to be able to chain the Silver Rokket effect because it was targeted via a Dark Link Monsters effect to look at your opponent's extra deck, rip one from it, and then destroy it. In doing so, as you resolve, because the monster is no longer there that Breach Borrel targeted, you get to special summon a Rokket monster directly from the deck. So you're going to be able to grab yourself your Rokket Recharger, and it can give you a little bit more resilience later on down the line. We're now going to use Fatal Flare and the Rokket we've just brought back to get ourselves the Quad Borrel Dragon. Now we're going to use Quad Borrel's effect to discard a card to then target a card, face-up monster on the field. You can't special summon Link 2 or lower monsters for the extra deck for the rest of the turn, which is fine, but you destroy the target monster. And then if it was a Link monster, you get to special summon any number of Rokket monsters with different names from the hand or grave up to its Link rating. So we're going to want to destroy our Tris Borrel Dragon, and in doing so we're going to be able to bring 3 monsters back from the graveyard. The only one you don't want to bring back is your Silver Rokket, because you want to use this to special summon a Rokket monster during our end phase. You definitely want to bring back your Tracer, as that is your level 4 tuner. And then after that point, you could either bring back your Loader, or in this scenario, we can also bring back our Recharger. And then you can just bring back any Rokket monster except for the Silver and get your Detonator. In doing so, you can synchro your Tracer as your level 4 tuner with your Rokket Recharger and grab yourself the Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. And then using your Breach Borrel, Link 2, your Quad Borrel, Link 2, and then just your Detonator, you put all 3 of those together and grab yourself your Borrel Shroud Dragon. As we move to the end phase, what we're going to be able to do here is we're going to be able to resolve our Silver Rokket Dragon, and this is going to allow us to grab access to our Magna Rokket Dragon. So the reason we've done this is you technically could set the Borrel Reboot if you wanted to, or you can hold it in the hand in case your opponent has like a Harpy's Feather Duster or something that might destroy it. But as scenario of what we've got during our opponent's turn, we've got the Draco Berserker the Tenyi, which will allow you to banish one of your opponent's monsters when it activates its effect. You've got the Magna Rokket Dragon, that when a Link monster's effect is activated that targets this card on the field, you destroy it and then send one monster on the field to the grave. So that's when you're going to get the benefit of being able to target it with a card like your Borrel End Dragon. But you also have the ability, your Borrel Shroud Dragon, means your opponent cannot tribute face-up cards on the field. And then once per turn, during the main phase, quick event, target a Rokket monster you control, negate the effects of a face-up card your opponent controls, and then destroy that targeted monster. Your opponent cannot activate card or effect in response to this effect as well. And then once while face-up on the field at the start of the battle phase, you get special on a Link for all our Borrel Link from the extra deck. So you've got loads of different interactions on that one. Then you've got your Borrel End. Can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. Neither player can target this card with card effects. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, so that's going to be a field clear the next time. And then it has a quick effect to target an effect monster on the field and a Rokket monster in your grave. Negate the effect of that monster on the field, and if you do, special summon that monster, other monster from the graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate card effects in response. So you've got a banish, you've got a send, you've got a negate, and then you've got a destroy as well. So you've got loads of different options, and then you've got your Omni Negate off the back of a Spell or Trap, or your Counter Trap Negate off of the Spell and Trap. And if you have a hand like this, you've obviously got an Ash, a Bell, and an Imperm, but you can just treat these as blanks for now. But these are the guarantee thing you've got from one single card. Now it is a very long-winded combo. Dragon Link and Rockets in their own right are going to be a heavy combo-orientated deck. But like I said, go and check out Exaudio's video. I'll put that in the description below. Watch it over and over again like I've had to do to try and learn these combos inside and out for the deck. It's very, very fun. It's interesting to see what Rockets can do now as well. Again, I don't think they're going to dominate, but it's quite nice that they've got a Breach Borrel that's going to be able to get them access to some of the cards that they might have been missing prior. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what they can do on this upcoming format. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.